Wind power leaders, energy business leaders, and government officials gathered in Houston for the WINDPOWER 2008 conference and exhibition, the world's largest annual wind energy industry event. The American Wind Energy Association's annual conference and trade show brought more than 12,000 attendees to Texas, the nation's #1 market for wind power, to learn about industry successes and to discuss what's needed for the industry's rapid expansion to continue. WINDPOWER 2008 featured key industry leaders and newsmakers like Texas Governor Rick Perry, Kansas Governor Kathleen Sebelius, and U.S. Assistant Secretary of Energy Alexander Karsner, all of whom urged greater use of wind to power a cleaner, stronger America.
We're taking energy diversification very seriously, starting with wind. We've tripled our wind production in Kansas in the last 3 years. We'll be at 10% wind at the end of this year, ahead of our 2010 goal. Our goal is to be at 20% by 2020. We think we can accelerate that pace.
Texas doesn't just believe in the potential of wind energy. We're reaping its benefits today. People who talk about wind energy as a technology of the future clearly haven't been to West Texas. The future of West Texas and wind energy is now.
The thousands who attended WINDPOWER 2008 represented a full range of interests: wind turbine supply chain manufacturers, policymakers and advocates, power marketers, transportation and construction companies, and a variety of other professionals, highlighting the industry's far-reaching positive impact on the U.S. economy. Exhibits showcased steel companies and foundries, transportation and logistical service providers, turbine and equipment manufacturers, project developers, finance companies, and electric utilities, all looking to do business in the booming U.S. market.
This industry is ready to grow to 20% of our electricity supply by 2030. The fantastic growth between just this conference and the last conference, almost doubling, is evidence of that.
The thing that is exciting is that wind power actually provided over a third of the new energy that was put on the U.S. electric grid last year, meaning that wind was the #2 source of new electric power generation in the U.S.
The technical and economic feasibility of 20% wind that came out in our recent report a few weeks ago, it was a collaboration between the wind industry, OWEA, our National Renewable Energy Laboratory, and the results of it were impressive enough that the administration of the Department of Energy put its seal on it and embraced it.
In all, more than 770 exhibitors were on hand to showcase the latest in equipment and services, ranging from the largest turbines being manufactured today to state-of-the-art electronics. In 2007 alone, more than 3,000 turbines were installed in the U.S. Those turbines required 9,564 blades and the same number of tower sections, approximately 1,557,000 bolts, 17,425 miles of rebar, and 805,000 cubic yards of concrete, enough for more than 3,700 miles of 4-foot wide sidewalk. The wind power supply chain touches virtually every corner of the U.S. economy.
We feel that the opportunity in the U.S. is so great that focusing in strictly on the U.S. market is a good strategy for Broadwind.
The U.S. wind market fits into our global wind business plans because when we acquired Bonus Energy back at the end of 2004, we focused on 4 key markets, one of which was the U.S. And we've had substantial growth globally, but one of the key markets remains the U.S.
Conference attendees spent time networking and sharing information about market successes and the challenges that face the industry, with many seeing Texas as a model for expanding wind's contribution to the overall power supply.
Well, basically, Texas got an early start with our forecasting effort. This early start allows them to really learn how forecasting can affect the power grid, and basically they're learning when you start off at a lower penetration rate with the wind forecasting, you can learn the system and you can make more effective decisions. So when the penetration rates get higher with wind, the ability to integrate that wind is much more successful. So Texas has done it right in that regard.
If wind were to generate 20% of America's electricity by 2030, as envisioned in the U.S. Department of Energy report, the wind industry would support roughly 500,000 jobs in the U.S. and invest billions of dollars in domestic manufacturing capacity.
The types of jobs that it takes to install a wind farm are numerous from a construction standpoint. The jobs would entail craft labor like operators, laborers, millwrights, technicians, carpenters, iron workers, and electricians.
Well, our revenue has grown dramatically over the last few years. We've announced a new facility in Iowa, and we just opened a new facility in Mexico this year.
Right now in Washington is a improved environment for our political leaders to talk about climate. We're seeing movement by all political parties. We're seeing a real dialogue for the U.S. to join the international community in climate. This will be an important driver for our industry.
Lending his very own brand of Texas-style energy, legendary singer-songwriter Lyle Lovett kicked off the conference with a standing-room-only concert.
The excitement about the U.S. wind industry that we see on display here in Houston this week is really, it reflects a vision of the future. A vision of wind providing as much as 20% of the nation's electricity by the year 2030. We are seeing such dramatic growth in our association because of that excitement. We actually have had 400 new business members joining this trade association in the first 5 months of the year. In 2001, this organization had only 200 business members, so it's very dramatic growth and very exciting, and it says something about the direction the world is going.
Thank you very much. Thanks so much to Randy and everybody with WINDPOWER 2008. God bless you folks for making a difference.
For more information, visit www.windpowerexpo.org.